and it looks like it's damp here in quali.
Does, yeah.
But perhaps one of the drivers will be able to let us know. So 17 drivers jumping into qualification here. No idea what the weather is going to be like here in Australia as of yet. And I am most definitely hoping for a wet race because, you know, wet racing makes everything just a little bit more hectic. And I'm being told there in the stream chat by Liam. It is a full dry campaign, so I'm sure a big sigh of relief for a lot of our drivers today, Henry.
No. It's not what we want to see.
Now, of course, Kai Bacchini in the Williams. You'll notice the immediate retirement. Of course, after that very, very interesting finish in Baku last time out, he got tangled up with Liam, and as a result has taken a qualification ban, which will only hurt him, as it will mean he is going to start at the back of the grid, and he is currently 4th in the championship for points. So hopefully that doesn't impact him too much. Of course, he's shown fantastic speed here throughout Season 2 for the Tier 2 division. And taking a look at the drivers now, I do believe Gadwin, the Finn driver for Toro Rosso, which I did confirm, by the way, Gadwin is very much indeed Finnish. I know last week somebody was questioning that, but I did have some words with him post-race, and yes, he did confirm for me that I was correct. And he is going to be the first driver out here to hopefully set a lap. You can see here he is on the medium compound tires as he makes his round through Albert Park. It is a beautiful circuit, if I don't say so myself, or if I do say so myself, however you'd like to, you know, word that. What do you think about Albert Park there, Henry?
I'm not a big fan myself personally, but I can see why a lot of drivers like it. It's a very fast-paced circuit. That fast chicane could catch a lot of people off guard here today.
Oh yes, of course, the high-speed chicane as Gadwin now flying through turn 1 there. You can see he takes just a little bit too much of that curbing and has unfortunately invalidated his lap. Next driver behind him, I do believe, will be Jay to cross the line.
Max was retired as well because he had a quali ban from last session.
That is right. So, of course, Max Inkster in the Haas also taking a qualification ban from last week in Azerbaijan. Jay now moving through into the Sector 2 split. Looking quite quick in the McLaren. Hopefully able to maintain that lead he has in the driver's standings at the moment. Now this is the section of circuit everybody's going to be paying close attention to. This is the high-speed chicane. Very easy to unsettle the car through there, very easy to lose traction and wind up with either a retirement or a significant amount of damage. Jay, however, looking quite neat and tidy through there as he makes his way through the final few turns of the circuit in Sector 3 now, up to the penultimate turn. Now the final turn. What time is he going to set, Henry? He is going to be the first driver to set it here. Coming across the line now. It's going to be a 121.580 on the soft compound tires. For the first time here in the qualification, you can see CFR Wisp, who is a reserve driver in the Mercedes today, making his debut over here for MRL. A 122 flat on the softs. Sensorless in the Renault, a 122.829. Not a bad time from him, making his debut today for Renault.
Oh, Maxim with the 121.4. Just pipping J, P1.
Juicebox in the Red Bull on a flyer now, making his way through Sector 1, up into the Sector 1 and 2 split now. Looks like he's coming up on some traffic there up ahead. Not too sure who that is. That's going to be Sensorless doing a fantastic job of pulling aside for the Red Bull, as the Red Bull makes his way through the fastest section of circuit here into that high-speed chicane. Ooh, big cut there on the inside.
And he doesn't validate, unfortunately.
Nigel in the Renault on the medium compound tires now. He's flying, but it looks like he is also invalidated at what may have been the 11-12 chicane. That definitely has the potential to catch a lot of drivers out now. Jack S on an invalidated lap. JM2 on a flyer, making his way through Sector 1 in the Toro Rosso. These drivers here in Australia pushing very, very hard. Such a high-speed circuit. Everyone wanting to get the absolute maximum out of their car. And, ooh, big slip there from the Toro Rosso. So far the time's looking quite good. Maxim, a 121.484. Jay, the 121.580. And Liam, right there with them, a 121.952. And that is the top 3 drivers in the standings at the moment. Currently in the top 3 for qualifying here in Australia. So the battle between those drivers, I am hoping, is going to be quite intense here in Australia. As JM2 now rounding the final turn of the circuit. DRS wide open on the rear. He comes across 5th fastest here so far, 122.668 the time on the soft compound.
I would love to see Kai coming from the back of the grid and finish somewhere near the top, potentially a podium.
Kai has shown fantastic speed through this season. Not the most ideal races, though. Some bad luck has definitely struck him here this season. And, well, Baku was a missed opportunity for the Williams driver, to say the least.
It was, yeah. Very much.
CJ Virtual on a flyer now, making his way through the end of Sector 1. A little bit of traffic up ahead. You can see there the Red Bull and McLaren. And that's Jay pulling off to the side. Jay and that McLaren has had some very interesting qualification sessions here so far this season. Seems like repeatedly getting impeded on laps, so hopefully here in Albert Park he has a bit of a better time. CJ into the penultimate corner. Now what time will he set? P3.
121.6. He goes P3 in the soft.
Very quick from him. Putting a little bit of a divide in between him and Liam. Of course, a notable exchange between the Racing Point and Mercedes driver. We have to take a look back at Hungary to the race finish there for Tier 2. Of course, CJ Virtual running out of fuel just near the line on the final pit straight. And Liam just coasting by him. It was a very, very iconic moment, I'd say, from this season. CJ Virtual definitely not going to be letting that happen again.
Oh, disqualified. I didn't see that. Who got disqualified?
It's a Max.
For going the wrong way, apparently.
Looks like he may have had an off and unfortunately unable to get things back in control. 8 minutes remaining here in the qualifying session and some very good times set on the board here so far. And that's CJ pulling off onto the grass to allow Jay by. We'll have to take a look at Jay as he looks to finish another flying lap here. DRS wide open down the pit straight now. He's run out of that battery deployment here, but he does cross and improve by almost a full tenth.
JM2. Disqualified.
Looks like there may have been an issue between him and Sensorless. on the exit of the pit lane. Not 100% sure, but JM2 has unfortunately received a disqualification as a result of blocking the pit lane. And that's Nigel now in the Renault, a 120.5, an absolutely dominating pole position. Very good lap from him on the soft compound tires. Liam is now up into second position, a 121.2 in the Mercedes. Jay has now dropped into fourth position here with CJ in fifth. Now Maxim on an outlap will be looking to improve on the 121.484 as he has been kicked off of pole position here.
Hidden Squid goes P8 with a 122.1. Looking to improve. Oh, and Jay goes into the pits.
Extreme in the Ferrari, the only driver who is yet to set a time that is still in session. With 6 minutes remaining, I don't believe he's even left the pit lane. Maxim now into turn one. Of course, I'm always watching Liam and Maxim with great interest as they are the front-running Canadians of the division. And as I am not driving, I'd like to see some Canadians do well. And mind you, if I was driving, I don't think Canada would be very happy with my my pace, Henry.
Oh, I believe Wisp's retired on end of sector 3.
Ooh, borderline cut there for Maxim on the inside curbing of the high-speed chicane as he flies through sector 2 into sector 3. Ferrari of Jackass having to pull off for the Alpha. Not too sure if it impacted Maxim or not, but he is coming down the pit straight now, and we will find out. And he does improve by a 10th. Unfortunately, not enough to move him out of third position. Now, I do want to take a moment to mention Nigel. I've had some good conversation with Nigel about his time on the Albert Park circuit. It is definitely one of his most known circuits, most practiced circuits, but he did tell me he is capable of putting the car across the line at a super quick rate of speed. But when it comes down to those pressuring moments, wheel-to-wheel driving with some of these drivers, those times sometimes don't translate during the race. Of course, qualification times much quicker than race times, especially in a 50% race. Fuel loads playing a role, tire degradation playing an even larger role. And we'll have to see how that pole position translates over into the race, Henry. Liam doing a good job of getting quite close to him on the front row. Jack S. in the Ferrari. It does not look like he's on a flying lap at the moment, as he has slowed things right down here. It looks like he's preparing himself to go. We'll jump on board with him as he looks to improve on a 123.664. 3.5 minutes remaining here in the session. That is the Toro Rosso of Gadwin now leaving the pits, doing a good job of slowing things up into the turn so the Ferrari can get by nice and clean.
I did not realize Robbo was DNF'd. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I can't say I did. So we have a multitude of retirements here. Of course, Max Inkster and Kai Bacchini retiring as a result of qualification bans, but a few more retirements that weren't expected. Wisp, Robbo, and JM2 as well as It's a Max. JM2 and It's a Max both getting disqualified. It's a Max for going the wrong way, and JM2 for supposedly blocking the pit exit.
Okay, Snow. Come around the penultimate corner. So very important to get a good exit here. Keep it very tidy. Ooh, with a 121.9. That'll put him P6.
Very quick from the Ferrari. His teammate still in the pit lane, not sure what's going on there, as I do believe his window to set a time has now gone. Quite possible he's having some lagging issues.
It was, yeah, indeed.
So unconfirmed as to whether or not he will be joining us in the race. Taking a look for drivers on flying laps now. CJ Virtual looks as though he's on a flyer in that racing point, ramping up that battery through down into the high-speed left-right section. My dear friend Max Inkster in the chat, it's your job to tell us the weather. You have better information than we do, but we do know that it is going to be a full dry session. Perhaps you should do your homework when you get into the race, my friend. CJ Virtual now down the pit straight we go. And he jumps into third position, a 121.240 the time. 0.05 of a second ahead of the Toro Rosso Gadwin. Maxim.
Jay needs to hurry up. Let's put out.
Maxim on another flyer. Jay now heading out. It looks like he might get it. It looks like he might. We're gonna switch on with Jay really quick to see if he makes it across the line.
No.
He's slowing things down, but now there was an error in Hungary where I saw Jay cross the line a little late. But according to him, the timer was a little different. So he's still storming down the straight now. Is he going to make it? Wow, Henry, he made it. Wow. One might think Jay did that on purpose to get me out of my chair, but Maxim now moving through into the high-speed section of the circuit, the 11-12 chicane. Jay cutting it extremely close here. Hats off to him for that super synchronized timing to the line. A little bit of luck, a little bit of planning, I'm sure, went into that. Maxim now getting ready to head into this penultimate corner in the Alfa Romeo, looking to get back on pole position, as the time has now finished here in the qualifying session. He comes down the pit straight for his final lap here ahead of this race. Where is he going to put it? He improves by 0.04 of a second and unfortunately is unable to improve his grid position now. Nigel currently flying. Jay is going to cross the line ahead of Nigel. Not too sure how, as we saw Jay, the last car to cross the line.
Over the line, he goes 121.128.
That was a massive, massive improvement. Almost 0.4 up on his previous set time. Very nice from the McLaren driver. Now he is on the front row next to Nigel. Jay, the current Drivers' Championship leader, going to be looking for an early overtake into turn one, I imagine. That race start going to be crucial for him to get out in front of that Renault. With that 120.1, that is an absolutely blistering time. Almost an entire second ahead of the grid. Nigel looking to be in a league of his own. But of course, that only gets him up on the grid for the start of this race. And in order to win the race, it's going to require a much, much greater feat than just one lap time set here in qualification. But that is the grid. Nigel starts on pole with Jay next to him in second position. And we will, of course, go down the grid ahead of the race start. We do have an entire formation lap to get through who your drivers are and where they are going to be starting. Nigel looking like a tier 1 driver at the moment with that time. Zamajo, I'm sure, raising his eyebrows going, okay, I see you. Maybe we'll have to put you into the Ferrari Academy or something like that. I don't know, Henry. But as you can see now, nice and sunny here in Australia. It is going to be a dry campaign. Of course, Max and Kai Bacchini, the two drivers who served qualification bans, going to be looking for early moves up the grid. Of course, we do not want a repeat of Misfits Discord Championship, which was, of course, technically Season 1 here of MRL, as I remember the first race of Australia in that championship like it was yesterday. There was quite a multitude of retirements as the formation lap has begun. Nigel in the Renault on pole position. Jay lines up next to him in second. Liam in third. CJ Virtual fourth. Gadwin rounds off the top 5 for Toro Rosso. Maxim not as far up the grid as I thought I'd see him. Maybe he's on his wheel as he has made the transition over to wheel from the gamepad, of course. He is in 6th. Jack S in 7th. CFR Wisp in 8th. Hidden Squid in 9th. And Sensorless, the newest full-time driver to the grid, who has had a couple of races with us in a reserve role, is now in a full-time seat, and he has clocked himself 10th here on the grid. Juicebox in 11th. Robbo 12th. Kai Bacchini, after the qualification ban, is actually going to start 13th. Extreme in 14th, as he did not even set a time, but it does look like he is on the grid with us and is going to be able to race, so fantastic to see that. Max Inkster, who also served a qualification ban, is going to be starting 15th position here, and it's a Max in 16th with JM2 behind him in 17th at the back of the grid after those two drivers were unfortunately disqualified in the qualification session. Nigel extremely far out in front here of the rest of the grid. Definitely going to have some cold tires when he gets sat up in his number 1 grid position. Jay is a little bit closer to the rest of the pack, but still out in front. And as these drivers round the last few turns, I do believe the computer wants to lock them into that perfect, ideal grid slot, so it does take over control. It doesn't want to leave anything to human interpretation, so that everything's nice and tidy. So all of these drivers now approaching the grid here. A couple of drivers not on the grid, or were unable to get those tires up to temperature. We saw a couple of them. I think there was a McLaren and maybe a Red Bull, but it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights on here in Australia. Lights out. No action yet from the drivers, and there we go. There's a big puff up of smoke from the tires as all of these drivers are now away, and we're going to have a good look down into turn 1. So far, relatively clean. Look towards the back of the grid now. Doesn't look like there's been any major incidents so far. Very clean. We'll move back up to the front, and that's Jay wheel to wheel with Nigel into turn 3. Very nice from him, and like I said, he had a great feat to get out in front of that Renault here early on in this race, and that's Jay now leading this race ahead of the pole position Renault, and now we have a retirement. It looks like Wisp has had a bit of an off. He is out of this race. We have a VSC deployment. All drivers now going to be slowing things down. And Wisp is out of this race very early here, lap 1 of this campaign. Not too sure what happened. But we're focusing on this leadership battle at the moment for the race lead. And Jay, on lap 1, already overtaking pole position driver Nigel in the Renault. And let's take a look here under VSC what changes we've had in positions.
Kai Bacchini up 5 places, I believe. up into P8 now.
That is correct, Henry. Kai Bacchini up 5 places. Liam has had an unfortunate race start here as he has actually dropped back 6 positions. And you can see there at the lead of this race, there's been a swap between Jay and Nigel. Gadwin up 2 slots. CJ has been planted in 4th since this race kicked off. Maxim up a slot. And more gains than drops here so far, but we are back to racing as Nigel, looking behind the rear of that McLaren, is about to go on a charge. No DRS until lap 3, of course. Looking to the outside now is Nigel on Jay. Almost synchronized braking from both of them. You can see Jay doing a good job of sticking out in front into the left-hander here. And the battles are ensuing in the middle of the grid. You can see things extremely tight here, and it looks like there's been a spin of some kind or some kind of incident. Extreme has just dropped 3 places suddenly. Kai Bacchini on those medium compound tires showing great speed right now. He is hunting down the Renault of Sensorless, who started in 10th, who's now up into 7th. Kai Bacchini up 5 positions, and we have another exchange. That's CJ Virtual and Maxim wheel to wheel now. CJ Virtual has dropped into 5th from 4th, and Maxim is looking to get out in front of him. Liam behind Kai Bacchini now. Those two, I'm sure, are at odds after the race end in Baku.
Oh, Robbo. Oh, no.
Robbo outside that high-speed chicane as anticipated. Gonna catch a couple of drivers out here. Kai Bacchini, a little bit of a slip of the rear there. We're going to jump on board with Liam as he is following behind this. You can see Jack S moves out there. Kai Bacchini on the inside of Sensorless. A little bit of a tap there. Liam with a fantastic move up on the inside of Kai Bacchini. Kai Bacchini's off into the grass. Oh, and there's a big collision there. That's the Ferrari of Extreme into the rear of Kai Bacchini as he backs out onto the circuit. Kai Bacchini taking a drive-through penalty as a result of unsafe rejoin to circuit there. I know all too well about that, Henry.
Wow.
And that is extremely unfortunate. Nigel still hunting down Jay here. Kai Bacchini taking some serious damage there in the Williams as he spun into that inside wall. Actually, excuse me, it looks like his car is fully intact still, but of course he did take that drive-through penalty, which is only going to hurt him, as he is now back into 12th position. Up the inside, though, it's a max. Wheel to wheel into the high-speed chicane. A little bit of a brush between the two drivers there, a little tap to the rear of the Red Bull. Sensorless and Liam battling. Ooh, Kai Bacchini with a move on It's a Max. It looks like he made it stick around the inside. Now up into 11th position here.
As Nigel goes into the lead now.
This battle for the race lead extremely intense as Jay and Nigel has been battling this entire race so far through 3 full laps. Extreme 1409 gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Extremely unfortunate for the Ferrari. He has not had very good luck here in Australia. Unfortunately, not setting a time in qualification, getting into a very large incident with the Williams of Kai Bacchini, and now a 5-second penalty adding to all of that. Jay starting to lose a bit of time behind Nigel. CJ Virtual has been in 5th now. He's looking at Maxim. He has DRS. Ooh, bit of a weave there from Maxim. CJ and him get into a little bit of contact. Very tight wheel-to-wheel action there. That's CJ out in front of Maxim, and we have a VSC deployed here as Sensorless gets into a severe collision with Juicebox. And it looks like Juicebox is out of this race, Henry. And that is
high-speed chicane again.
The high-speed chicane claiming once again another driver. All drivers slowing things down now. This has worked out quite well for Jay, I imagine, as he has gained a good amount of position, or time, excuse me, on the race leader, Nigel. as we wait for the VSC to go offline, back to green flag racing. Sensorless into the pits now. Kai Boccini pitted onto hard compound tires. And not too sure what's going on there, Henry. I do believe he still has to serve a drive-through penalty.
He does, yeah, indeed, yeah.
So at the end of lap 5, if I'm not mistaken, Kai Boccini must, excuse me, he's actually still on lap 4. If he crosses the line here, he might get disqualified.
I think he's got one more lap.
I'm extremely confused. I thought for sure he still had to serve that qualifying, or the drive-through penalty.
In 3 laps, Striff.
Oh my, I'm getting a little far out and ahead of myself, aren't I, Henry? CJ, though, on the rear of Maxim. Once again, we've seen this before, except this time a little bit cleaner. He gets out in front with that DRS, nice and easy, very clean overtake from the racing point here. Good job from him. Jack S, though, on the hunt as well in the Ferrari behind them, as CJ and Maxim try to track down the Finnish driver, Gadwin, currently running in 3rd. A very nice position for him. Drivers 1 through 7 right now on the timing tower, all on those soft compound tires. Max Inkster, who started very far in the back. Maxim up the inside of CJ into turn 1. Gets the job done. Very nice from him. Ooh, onto the grass goes CJ. Jack S is going to say thank you very much, sir, and he's up the outside into turn 3. With the DRS as well, of course.
Hidden Squid gets a 3-second penalty. I'll be interested to see if Kai Boccini pits this lap. I believe he has to. And yes, he does. Here's the pits.
So Kai Boccini now serving that drive-through penalty. It's going to push him back a little bit, but not too much, hopefully.
As Extreme, it gets fast lap with a 1:25.1. See if Jay can keep in the DRS zone.
CJ Virtual up the outside again of Jack S. Ooh, Jack S coming very far outside there, pushing CJ. Now Liam in on the action. Fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing here. These guys aren't giving each other any room to breathe at all, Henry. Meanwhile, Nigel still leading this race. Jay in 2nd, Gadwin in 3rd, and those are your top 3 for the time being here on lap 7. CJ dropping back a little bit now. Liam and Jack S wheel to wheel. That's Liam out in front. Is he going to get the move done? He does, and that's CJ now next to Jack S. Jack falling back into 7th position as he's just lost 2 positions inside of 2 turns, and he is definitely going to be looking to jump back into 5th after that. But fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing here on lap 7 between the Ferrari Racing Point and the Mercedes in that battle for 5th position. But of course, all of this battling is causing them to drop back behind the Alfa Romeo of Maxim, currently running in 4th. Extreme on the softs behind Hidden Squid now, looking for an overtake down the inside of the pit straight into turn 1. Is he going to get that move done before the line? Yes, he is, as he now makes his way onto the optimal racing line out in front of the McLaren. Very nice stuff. Jay is now getting back into striking distance of Nigel, and we have a retirement. That CJ Virtual is out of this race. What happened to him? It looks
exactly
like
the same thing.
The high-speed chicane has claimed again another driver, CJ. You can see there on the right-hand side of Max Inkster. He has retired from this race outside of the chicane. Very unfortunate for him, as he was having a hell of a battle for 5th. Now, Nigel, Jay, Gadwin, Maxim, Liam, Jack S. Everybody is going to be jumping into the pits now, and it looks like we had a momentary overtake there between Nigel and Jay. But of course, it looks like it was just where they were situated in the pit lane, as Nigel still out in front of Jay. But this safety car is going to make for a very interesting race. The top 6 all jumping onto those hard compound tires. Max Inkster, we'll have to see what he jumps onto. It's a Max as well. Nigel now catching up with that safety car. I do believe he can pass the safety car here, Henry. I'm not entirely sure, as he may still need to overtake it.
I believe not.
I could be mistaken, but the safety car seems to be pulling off to the side a lot here.
I think this is probably Cody. He's doing his own thing again.
Oh, well, okay, so we are now behind the safety car, and this is that moment where I always wish that I had a rear view camera from the safety car watching all of the drivers weaving and being careful behind it. But so first safety car here in Melbourne, or first full safety car, I might add, as we've already had 2 VSCs here. But it is the first full safety car heading into lap 8, and we have had 4 retirements here in this race. Out of the 17 drivers that started, 13 remain. CJ Virtual, Juicebox, both out of this race, as well as JM2 and CFR Wisp. And if I'm not mistaken, Henry, this high-speed chicane we're going through now, at a very slow speed, mind you, claiming at least 2 of those 4 retired drivers.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know how many laps are going to take in Tier 1, but we'll have to see.
You know, I have to say I would not be surprised if it claimed a few more drivers in Tier 1, as everybody in Tier 1, not to say the Tier 2 drivers aren't, but everybody in Tier 1 pushing super, super hard. They may just lose it on that chicane. Now,
Especially with the
safety
fuel,
car is going to be coming in more than likely at the end of lap 9, given the grid is able to bunch itself up properly once again. Robbo in 11th position has opted not to pit, as he's already on the hard compound tires. Extreme on the 4-lap-old softs, also not pitting, and Hidden Squid is onto the fresh mediums. So a few different tire strategies at play here. And as we are now behind this full safety car, Henry, who would you say are your top 3 picks for podiums?
Definitely Nigel and Jay. And I'm going to say Kai Pacini, take it in 3rd spot. I feel like he could do this.
You really want to see
Especially
Kai up there, don't you?
Yeah. What about you? Yeah.
Well, I think Maxim's got some speed left in the tank there, and I'll go with Kai Pacini as well. I'd also like to see Kai Pacini on the podium. Of course, he did claim his first win 2 races back, and I'd like to see him back on that podium a little bit more. It just seems like his luck come race time isn't that great, and hopefully he gets some good juju here heading in through the final few races of the season. So a podium would definitely start some momentum after it was stripped from him in Baku. So, and then, so yeah, Maxim, Kai Pacini, and Jay. I think Jay is going to be our race winner. That is definitely my prediction here, as Nigel is leading the race right now, but Jay has shown great speed here and
Especially
great patience. Great patience here in Australia so far from the McLaren. Now, the grid is bunched up. The car is about to cross into Sector 3 now, and I do believe it is going to tell us that it's coming in. But no word yet. Unless, you know what? I could be wrong. It may have already come across, as Nigel's already slowing things right down. So yes, I am going to go ahead and say the safety car is coming in. Now, if you guys are just joining us, make sure you smash that follow button, as we are back to Green Flag Racing. Nigel has pinned it down to the floor, as Jay on his rear will be looking for maybe a quick overtake here, as we're back to Green Flag Racing when Nigel crosses the line. Everybody is away. So far, Max Singster wheel-to-wheel with sensorless there into the grass. Ooh, that was quite an interesting overtake there from sensorless, as him and Max got into a little bit of a brush. And now, back to the front of the grid, as everybody seems to have gotten away relatively clean here, and it's a Max up the outside of Max Singster into 8th position. Caught Max Singster sleeping, it would seem. What an overtake there. Very nice job from him. Max Singster going to be kicking himself after that one, of course. Gadwin still in 3rd position, Jay in 2nd, and Nigel leading this race. Let's take a look over on the Mercedes of Liam, who is starting to try and get those tires nice and hot behind the rear of the Alfa Romeo Maxim. This is the section of circuit that has been retiring a lot of drivers. I'm all too familiar with it, as you may know, Henry. very early on in my time racing here in F1 2019. That had to be my Achilles heel here in Albert Park, and that's Robbo moving up a position. Now
Oh.
Liam wheel to wheel with Jack S. As Jack S goes for a switch down the inside. Is he going to get that move done? He has a bit of a contact with the Mercedes here, but he's up into fifth after a very, very quick switchback onto the inside line. And I don't even think Liam saw it coming after he defended against Jack S around that right-hander. But very nice from the Ferrari. A lot of cheeky and quick moves happening here after this restart. And now Hidden Squid and Extreme have both taken 5-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane. Extremely unfortunate.
Before.
Gadwin
Both pitting.
in that Toro Rosso. Beautiful aerial shot here from Codemasters. I wish we had a few more of those as he comes into the right-hander. Into that nice section of this circuit. That is just a beautiful shot there. I just want to sit here for a second. But he is gaining on Jay at the moment. Jay has lost a little bit of time to Nigel on those hard compound tires, as all of those hard compound racers going to be looking to go to the end here. Very nice racing action here, as Codemasters for once is giving me plenty of beautiful shots here in this race. Not too many overtaking opportunities on circuit right now. Sensorless though on the rear of Liam. DRS has been enabled for those that have crossed the line now. Sensorless will not have it until he gets through into the next section of circuit, as it looks like he has been plagued by the infamous rev bug.
It's Kai Pacini up to 9th now. After that safety car restart, he's charging up the pack.
Kai Pacini more than likely going to have to pit once again, though. Doing a good job on those hards, but he is 8 laps on those hards now. Of course, the safety car giving him a little bit of extra life in those tires, but I do believe we'll see him pit again unless he is absolutely, absolutely amazing at tire management. Of course, we will see. It is a long race. 29 laps here in Albert Park. We're not even halfway through yet. Ooh, looks like Robbo's had an off. Max Inkster into 10th position. Looks like they may have gotten into a scrap. Looking for damage. Robbo missing a front left end plate there. We'll have to check on Max as well. Looks like he's got a fully intact front wing as he comes through the chicane now. Kai Pacini, and it's a Max wheel to wheel. It's a Max into the wall. Ooh, not too sure what happened, as Kai Pacini with an overtake on the Red Bull. Now, it's a Max staying off to the side, allowing Robbo and Max to move on ahead. Good heads-up driving from him, making sure that the circuit was clear before he got things backed up back into the race. More than likely going to see a pit stop from him here. And there he goes. Into the pits is the Red Bull It's a Max, currently running in 11th position. Now, the gap behind him, quite significant. We'll have to see if he gets out of the pits in time. Gadwin, still within a second, and we have... Ooh, and that's Jack S. Off outside of turn 3 as he slams it into reverse, trying to get things back under control. He's on that runoff area there. And Kai Pacini is now up into 7th, Henry. Sensorless into 6th on the 8-lap Old Softs. He is going to start to feel those tires soon. And we'll have to see what lap he decides to pit on, as Kai Pacini is towering down on those hards behind the rear of that Renault. Jay has now dropped 2.5 seconds almost behind the rear of the Renault Nigel in that fight for lead.
Senseless and Kai Pacini. Oh no.
As it looks like there was an issue in the high-speed chicane. We have Jack S now. Ooh, that's a big incident there, and we have another full-blown safety car here on lap 13.
What happened to... Oh my... I think
now,
they got to a little tangle.
If you're the race leader right now, Nigel has not pitted. Jay has not pitted. Gadwin has decided to stay out. Robbo on the 10-lap Old Hards. Do you see him jumping onto mediums, Henry? 15 laps to go here.
I reckon he should.
In this race, Robbo could be in a unique position here.
He
I don't
does, yeah, he
know.
does go to the pits.
I don't know if Nigel and Jay had the opportunity to jump into the pits, but you can see now Jack S and Robbo both into the pits. Robbo, unfortunately, taking a time penalty. Very, very important to keep in mind that the pit speed is very, very low here. It is a very slow pit entry, and we've seen a multitude of penalties come down. Now, Robbo and Jack S both jumping onto medium compound tires. It's a max onto mediums as well from the last lap, and it looks like this safety car has been a blessing in disguise for It's a Max 100% after we saw him pit last lap round after getting into some kind of scrap and losing that front wing. Now the grid going to bunch up again. Hidden Squid there in the McLaren at the back is now into the pits, and he is going to more than likely change over a wing and some tires, as Jay and Nigel on these hard compound tires have decided to stay in. And I don't know. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. If you don't get into the pits as soon as that safety car flag goes up, you are in for some trouble. But they do have great speed. It is not impossible for them to pit and come out into a decent position, as the gap right now between Extreme and Max Inkster is 25 seconds between 7th and 6th. So I do believe they will come out in a fighting position. I don't know if staying out on the hards was the right call.
I would have definitely gone to mediums.
Oh, and it's Jay.
Jay
is coming into the pits here. He's going for a serious big brain move, as he's saying, you know what, Nigel, you want to stay out on those hard compound tires? All the power to you. I'm going to go in for a nice set of mediums. Where are they going to come out? Maxim, B, and Liam, the Canadian drivers as well, jumping into the pits, and this has just gotten quite interesting here on lap 15. Now Nigel under some serious pressure, as Gadwin on the 7-lap old hards is now fighting behind him with Max Inkster, ladies and gentlemen, currently running in 3rd position for the Haas squad here in Australia. Now I just want to take you back almost 6 months ago, during Misfits Discord Championship, aka MRL Season 1, where Max Inkster unfortunately had one of the best starts in Australia, but as a result of a race restart, never got to see the end of that one. So he is out for revenge today, and he is now running in 30s in a fantastic position here. He's on the same tire life as those race leaders. And if he's able to put together some solid pace, he could be in for a shock podium here today, Henry. Of course, fingers crossed for the Scottish driver. Extreme on the 4-lap old hards running in 4th, with everybody else behind him on either equal or fresher compound tires. And the mediums to boot. So, Jack S in that Ferrari, going to be looking for a quick overtake perhaps on his teammate Extreme, who has had a very unique race. A very unique race. What a race we've had, Henry.
I didn't even see that. Just looking for see what moves Jay can pull off in front of him. The fresh mediums will definitely help him out. I reckon Nigel will have put it off, you know. I don't want to speak so soon, but Nigel's got great pace. Oh wow, safety car in this lap very late. A green light racing here in Albert Park, Australia.
What a late safety car response there.
Was very late.
Jack S with that quick overtake on his teammate. Jay, though, is the driver to watch. Down the inside of into turn 3 on the inside of Robbo. He gets that move done. Wow, what a quick move and what a quick think from the English driver. He is now chasing down 2 Ferraris here in Australia, in a McLaren, no less. And they are under serious threat, as Jay on those mediums is got to be driving with a grin on his face, showing immense speed. Max Inkster under threat from Jack S now. Jack S looking for a move. He gets back behind him. Extreme weaving a little bit there into the turn. Jay being very cautious of that. Is he going to be patient into the chicane? It looks like he will. Wow, this is extremely intense stuff we're watching out in front of Jay. The gap between Jackass now. Jackass up the outside of Max Inkster. Is he going to get that move done? There's a little bit of a brush there. Jackass, a little bit of a kick up of dirt, and Jay up the inside of Extreme now. What a move from the McLaren. He is doing a fantastic job at Extreme, looking to fight back, comes up the inside. He's not able to make anything happen. Jay safely into 5th now. We're going to jump on with him. Beautiful aerial shot here as he is now behind the rear of the Ferrari and Haas drivers who are fighting now into turn 1. Max Inkster has lost out. Jay onto the grass, onto the curbing. Yellow flags popping up all over Sector 1 here as Jackass is now into 3rd. That's Maxim. Oh my God, what racing we're seeing here now. This is absolutely craziness we're witnessing here, Henry. Now, wheel to wheel, the McLaren and Haas. Max Inkster gets out in front, but just barely as he almost loses it onto the grass there. And now Jay up the outside gets the move done. Now Max Inkster under threat from Liam. Liam into 6th position. This is absolutely chaotic wheel-to-wheel action here. It's a Max. Oh my God, he's spun it as well. Robbo out in front of him, and it looks like Extreme had some kind of issue with those hard compound tires as he's fallen into 11th place, but we're still going with this battle here. Max Inkster has fallen into 7th, Liam into 6th, Jay into 5th. Wow, this is crazy, crazy stuff we're seeing here after this restart, Henry. That was just pure action through this lap, and things are starting to settle down a little bit now, but Hidden Squid now on the rear of Max Inkster. See if he's able to make a move. DRS enabled. Not for these guys, though. You can see, though, the power doing the job for the McLaren as he is now out in front just by a little bit of that Haas coming down into turn 1. Ooh, but Max Inkster wheel to wheel with him. Very, very close between the McLaren and Haas drivers now. Wow, Hidden Squid getting the move done. Max Inkster isn't finished with him yet, though. Up the inside, is he able to make a move? No, he isn't, but there's a big spin from the McLaren there. He's into the wall, and that's the Alpha of Robbo and Max Inkster moving on by him. Hidden Squid bouncing off of the wall there, back onto the circuit. And he is completely totaled in that McLaren after showing great speed. Wow. Wow, Jay now settling things down in the McLaren, getting behind the Canadian Maxim, currently less than a second the gap. Wow. This has been some intense action here in Australia. It never disappoints. One of my favorite circuits on the calendar. And I have to say I'm quite impressed with some of the wheel-to-wheel racing we have seen so far here. Henry.
Fantastic action. Coming out of the Tier 2 drivers here in Albert Park. I was on board with Jay. See what move he can pull off. Going down the pit lane straight. With the DRS open.
No DRS for Maxim on the Ferrari ahead of him.
Jay fastest lap of 125 flat.
Great lap coming out of the McLaren camp, given lap 19 right now. Max Inkster and Robbo, looks like they've had an exchange as Robbo out in front of the Scottish driver for the Haas squad now. Max Inkster looking inside, thinks better of it. Gets nice and close to the rear of that Alfa Romeo. For all of our viewers, if you are just tuning in, you are watching Misfits Racing League Season 2 action. It is the Australian Grand Prix for round 15 with epic league racing action every Thursday here on the channel. Smash that follow button, as just after this race, we are going to have another division taking to the circuit here in Australia. It is going to be the Tier 1 squad, and that is going to be some intense and exciting stuff. Jay up the inside of Maxim. Is he going to get that move done? What a lunge from him. He is not going to get the move done, though. Oh, super tight stuff coming out of the McLaren and the Alpha right now. Liam looking for an angle. in the Mercedes behind them. Jay can't be affording to make any mistakes right now as Jack S crosses with a 125 flat in the Ferrari, currently running in third. Jack S closing in on Gadwin now. Less than a second the gap for that second place podium position.
Do you think Nigel can pull it off with a 5-second lead?
I don't know, man. He's got to keep it clean through the last 9 laps here. But of course, Liam extremely close to the rear of Jay in this fight for 5th right now. We saw them almost, it was half a tenth the gap a few moments ago. Jack S gonna have DRS on Gadwin with Liam with DRS on Jay. Is Liam gonna make a move? We're gonna jump on with Jack S in just a second. It doesn't look like Jack S got the move done, but it's still wheel to wheel with Liam and the McLaren of Jay. He isn't able to make the move stick.
As Extreme DNF'd in Sector 2, I believe. Don't know what happened to him.
Liam up the inside of Jay into turn 1. Whoa, what a move by Jay. Oh my God. What did I just watch, Henry? I can't believe Jay had enough speed to get completely out in front of that Mercedes coming through turn 2 like that. That was absolutely epic. Maxim currently less than half a second behind Jack S. Jack S now has been putting Gadwin under pressure, but he himself has come under threat from the Alpha, and Jay will hopefully be catching them up quite soon as Liam on the outside of Jay, holding off, getting back behind the rear of that McLaren. That was just absolutely crazy driving here. Liam looking for any kind of little gap. We're going to jump on with Maxim in the fight for 3rd now as he's coming out of that high-speed chicane with DRS, but Jack S is going to have the DRS as well. It doesn't look like anything's cooking here. Will Liam have an opportunity on Jay? He decides against it. Jay doing a very good job of positioning his car there, defending against this Mercedes. Liam unable to commit to any kind of move there. Maxim, though, is going to have DRS on Jack S. He's quite close, coming through into the pit straight now. Look at how close he is to this Ferrari. DRS wide open for the Ferrari, though, on the rear of that Toro Rosso. Almost equalizing the speed in these two cars, just training each other along down into turn 1. Jay very far out in front of the Mercedes as well, and things are just super intense here between these few drivers battling on circuit. Liam fighting with Jay, Jack S and Maxim fighting, as well as Gadwin just trying to do what he can to stay out in front in that second place position. Of course, Gadwin and Nigel now 14 laps old on those hard compound tires. This is absolutely crazy racing action here as Jay is not that far behind Maxim at the moment. Just around 7 laps to go here in Australia. We'll have to see what kind of drop-off that those hard compound tires see. Jack S takes a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. That is going to pay off huge for the drivers behind him, and he is going to be kicking himself for that one for sure. Of course, penalties can most definitely play a role here at the finish of these races. Gadwin still fighting in second position. Jack S not able to make anything happen just yet. Maxim, though, hunting him down. Gadwin off onto the grass. Jack S round the outside into the final turn of the circuit. Is he going to get that move done? He does. Gadwin under serious threat now as he will not have the DRS. Maxim will. Wow. Wow, crazy intense stuff here on lap 23. Now we go. DRS once again for the Canadian Alpha driver. Jack S has it too. And Gadwin doing a good job of sticking in third there. Ooh. Maxim round the outside of the Toro Rosso driver. Jack S having caused that Toro Rosso to slow things right down, and Gadwin is now not in a very nice position, Henry. Not in a very nice position at all, as those tires are definitely going to start to hurt him. Jack S now on those fresher medium compound tires than the hards that Nigel is on. We'll have to see what kind of gap these drivers are able to shrink out from underneath that race leader.
Good battle for P2 right now, Striff.
Gadwin, though, making a move on Maxim. They're wheel to wheel. He's up the inside. He's back in the third position with a great move. Is he able to make it stick, though? The traction of Maxim, very good. They're wheel to wheel. Jay looking for a move up the inside, as he's got a front row seat to all of this action. But, of course, he's got Liam on his rear as well, and that's a big, big amount of debris flying off the front of what I do believe. Wow, Jay into third now, Liam into fourth, and Maxim and Gadwin have had an issue, and I don't know who took most of the damage there, as it looks like Jack fully intact on his front wing, so it definitely wasn't him. Jay takes a 3-second time penalty, and he is not going to be happy about that.
Gadwin is losing a lot of that wing on that Ferrari.
Gadwin,
Sorry,
yeah, that front left end plate on his car there, completely gone. Not going to be good for him at all. He was in such a great position, fighting in second. And now we've had a major shuffle of positions here on lap 24. It's Nigel still in lead of this race on the 16-lap Old Hards. Jack S. out in front of Jay right now in second, with Jay in third. Both of them with 3-second time penalties. Liam, who I do believe has been quite clean here so far in this race, currently running in fourth. We'll see if he's able to make any good overtakes here, but it looks like for the most part he's just been coasting behind the rear of this McLaren. Maxim, not too sure what his wing is looking like, as it looks like he's missing a front right end plate on that Alpha, currently running in sixth behind Gadwin. And these are the battles currently happening on circuit. Jay trying to get behind Jack S. We're now on lap 25 out of 29 here. Well, this race certainly has not disappointed and has not given us any shortage of wheel-to-wheel overtaking action, as Jay, currently less than half a second separating him and the Ferrari ahead of him. Jay, who began this race in second position, looking to get back into that position he started, and then some, hopefully. Of course, Nigel, looking like Zamajo right now in that Renault. And, well, very good for him. Ooh, a little bit of a brush with the wall there is the McLaren. Liam saw it, and he's looking for a move, perhaps on the outside. But, of course, Jay doing a good job of seeing that, closing the door before Liam can make anything happen. But Liam is going to have DRS, as well as Jay on Jack S. Is he going to make the move up the outside? I don't know if he's going to be able to make that stick. Jack S. has constantly been shutting that door on people coming out of that turn. Liam with a cheeky move on Jay. Jay not going to be happy about that with the DRS. Is he going to be able to make something happen? Super intense race in the battle for podium positions here for round 15 of MRL. Friendly reminder, guys, if you're enjoying the racing action, enjoying the media, enjoying the commentary, to smash that follow button, as we still have another race to go this evening. It's going to be the Tier 1 division, taking to the Australian circuit in just under 1 hour's time.
Can't wait for that, Striffium.
Oh, neither can I. Of course, Mikal will be joining me in the commentary booth, as Henry will be driving. Liam getting the move done on Jack S, showing Jay how it's done, as Jay now.
Sniff. on the gearbox.
Giving it a sniff. DRS for Jay. Hopefully he's able to get out in front of this Ferrari. Jack S moving to the inside now. Wheel to wheel into the turn. That's Jay out in front. Jack S losing out, and Jay is up into the podium positions. Of course, Jay with a 3-second penalty, as well as Jack S. So it looks like if he's able to maintain that position, he may have secured himself a P3 podium. But of course, the race is not over just yet.
Liam has no penalties, I believe, so he will stick to that P2 if it keeps the same weight.
Now, one thing to note here, as a result of the 7 driver retirements here in Albert Park here for Tier 2, all of the remaining drivers on circuit will, in fact, be accredited their points. Of course, 10th gets 1 point. And now the battle that we are really focusing on here is the battle for these final podium positions, as Jack S has now dropped back a full second behind Jay. Jay, though, has not finished this hunt. Liam still has to keep it clean for 2 more full laps here without a penalty. Not even sure if he's got any warnings right now. If you're able to check, Henry, that would be fantastic. But Jay hunting him down with the DRS. He's looking quite clean through that first and second turn. DRS, though, will it pay off? He's looking inside. Liam sees it, gets onto the inside line, preventing Jay from really making any kind of move there. He will have to pick and choose another opportunity here to overtake the Mercedes ahead of him.
Liam has 2 warnings, and I believe Jack has a 5-second penalty, but I think he said that in the pits.
So Liam, 2 warnings, 1 more warning, and he will be at risk of a penalty. Or I should just say right now, he is at risk of a penalty. If he takes 1 more warning, he will take a penalty, and it will be even more intense between these 2 drivers. DRS out of the high-speed chicane. Nigel currently 11.5 seconds ahead of Liam, which is a monumental gap.
And Hidden Squid is retired.
Hidden Squid with a DNF. It looks like somewhere around turn 1. Not too sure what could have happened there. As Nigel is passing him now, we'll have to take a look at that car. It looks like he's missing some front right end plate there. But Nigel currently leading this race with a massive lead, with Jay, Jack S, and Liam fighting for that second position. These boys will not let it rest until the checkered flag is waved.
Jay is pushing, don't push too hard now. Now's not a good time to push. Your tyres can be very hot.
Very hot indeed. Medium's 14 laps now. Nigel on the 21 lap old hards.
Great consistency by Nigel once again.
It is now the time that he makes the move. Is he going to get that inside? Ooh, a little bit of a brush with the left rear.
Will he get it on DRS?
I don't think it matters at this point. Nigel taking the checkered flag here in Albert Park. Liam crossing the final corner. Is he going to get him on DRS to cross the line ahead? I don't know. The exit wasn't that great. He's trying to stay with the slip. Liam crosses second. Jay in third. Jack S in fourth. Maxim now crossing fifth. Gadwin rounding the final turn in the Toro Rosso, who was in second earlier on, has now crossed the line here in sixth position. Robbo has yet to finish, as well as Itza Max and Max Inkster, currently making his way through Sector 2. Congratulations to all of our podium finishers.
Well done to Robbo. I'm sure he's happy with that result.
Max Inkster now crossing the line here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up MRL Tier 2 Season 2 action here for round 15. It was the Australian Grand Prix. Nigel with the race win. Liam finishing second here with Jay in third after fantastic races from all three of them. Great stuff. And of course, we will take a look at how things played out on the final timings. But a great race, a lot of wheel-to-wheel action here. A dry race, of course, which means that for those Tier 1 drivers that may be viewing right now, get ready because the dice is about to get rolled for your race coming up in just under 1 hour, 48 minutes to be precise, until the Tier 1 action kicks off. Of course, Mikal will be joining me for that, as Henry will be jumping into his Williams looking for some serious points. Nigel in the Renault with the race win. Liam in second for Mercedes, and Jay in third for McLaren after having started in second. Him and Liam switching positions from where they started here on the grid. Jack S in fourth for Ferrari with a nice move up from seventh. Maxim started sixth. He moves up one slot into fifth. Gadwin has dropped back a place into sixth. Robbo in seventh. Insamax eighth. Max Inkster in ninth. And Hidden Squid, unable to finish this race in regulation, will take 10th after a DNF. And then Extreme, Sensorless, Kai Bacchini, who had a very dynamic race, finishing 13th after a retirement. CJ Virtual, Juicebox, JM2, and Wisp, all unable to finish out things here in Australia. Let's take a look at the race director. As well as the tire strategies. You can see here, Hidden Squid he stopped 5 times. 5 stops from Hidden Squid, the most of any driver on the grid today. What a race it was. Absolutely crazy stuff here in Australia. What do you think, Henry? How do you feel about the race? Any comments? Just
A fantastic
crazy.
race by all the drivers, wasn't it? Really.
It really
Nigel
was.
doing really well on the hard tyre at the end there. Just keeping that consistency all through the race.
Very good consistency. He stretched those hards quite long. Did a very good job on them. Jay and Liam unable to make up any time on the rear of the Renault, of course, on those fresher and faster medium compound tires. And, well, just a lot of really fun action here in Australia. Of course, if you guys are just joining us, my name is Striffium. Joining me is Henry. And the action has not finished for today just yet, as we are going to be shutting the stream down in just a few moments' time to get ready for the Tier 1 drivers in 45 minutes. So, keep it parked here, follow the channel, and we will be live with more racing action in a short period of time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button to let us know, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more great racing content. We are live on Twitch every week on twitch.tv Misfits Racing League. Hit us up in the description below for our Discord and Twitter links as well. Always looking to get connected on those, and if you're interested in joining the MRL, Discord is the place to be. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on our next video.